Welcome everybody to, actually I'm going to do this when I'm not stood in sheep shit. Have that removed immediately. Right, I have been looking for a way to transfer data from one of these to one of these without a laptop for a good while now, and evidently I've not been trying very hard because there are lots of options and I still haven't settled on one. The reason I'd like to find a solution to do that is because laptops don't really travel well to places like this, and quite often I want to back up my photos in places like this. I mean, I did think of bringing my laptop to demonstrate how annoying it would be, but I decided against it. It's quite heavy, got a lot of stuff in my bag. So yeah, I've been looking for a solution for a while, and a few weeks ago, a company called Gnarbox sent me a Gnarbox. Now this is basically a hard drive with an SD card slot, a micro SD slot, a USB 3 slot, a USB 2 slot, and a micro USB 3 slot. And this had a very successful Kickstarter a couple of years ago. I think it was 2015. And it got backed by thousands of people. I can't remember exactly how many, but it was a very, very exciting product. And it still is in some ways, but this in 2017/2018, in a few days' time, this is far from the cheapest and only way to back up a card to a hard drive now. And to be honest, I think this is a bit of a hard sell because, well, firstly, it's $300, and it doesn't take a lot of research to find cheaper options. For example, there are hubs like the RAV Power hub, where you can connect an SD card and a hard drive. There are hard drives that have SD card slots and are wireless. And also, secondly, this only comes with 128 gigabytes of space, which, I mean, it's not the year, I can't remember what year 128 gigabytes would have been the norm for hard drives, but it's probably a long time ago. And in a world of 4K and lots of cameras having 40-50 megapixels, 128 gigs ain't gonna last long. However, I do think that there are a number of things still going for the Gnarbox in 2017/2018. So I thought I'd bring it up here to test. Those clouds are getting closer, so I'll get a move on. Try not to get too distracted. Found an old house! So I would say that if it's your only goal to transfer data from an SD card to a hard drive without a computer, then this is probably overkill. You're better off with something else. But the first reason I think this is worth considering is that it's proof. It's freeze proof, it's dust proof, it's water resistant, and it's shock proof apparently. I should probably test that, but I've grown quite fond of it, so no, I should test it for the sake of the review. Yeah, I'll test it. I think it survived. I mean, I haven't turned it on yet, so. Now, the whole reason I'm looking for a device like this is because I want to back up in places like this, and I don't want to use a laptop. And the main reason I don't want to use a laptop is that it's not suited to these environments. And most of the competitors that I've seen to this product, even though they're cheaper, they're not built for environments like this. And so I'd be no more comfortable taking a hard drive that wasn't built for the outdoors than I would taking a computer that wasn't built for the outdoors, because the likely impact could be the same. You could just lose your data. And there are loads of reasons you might want to back up before you get home. You might be on a road trip, maybe your client wants to take your second SD card, maybe one of your cards is corrupted, maybe you've run out of spare card, maybe your card wallet got wet, maybe your cards got eaten by a badger, or maybe you're on a shoot with clients and they just want to see your images. And historically, with a situation like that, you just have to shoot on a laptop, or you'd have to tether, or you'd have to import on a laptop so everyone could huddle around a screen to look at your images. Now you can just use one of these, because one of these can connect to 4 devices at once, so you can be looking at your images, a client can be looking at your images. It's very clever. Now, the other standout feature of this thing is that it has a processor in it, so it can edit photos, and not just JPEGs. It can edit RAW photos and 4K footage. So let's go and try that out. Okay, so I've just taken some horrific selfies on this. And you'll see that I've also got a couple of other things stuck into the Gnarbox too. So I've got one of these power pack things that you get for your phone. Can't remember what they're called, but that's charging it at the moment. And I've also just got a normal hard drive stuck into the USB 2 port, and that means when I'm backing up my files I can choose to put them onto the Gnarbox itself on the 128 gigs of storage, or I can choose to just use the Gnarbox as a hub and put the files onto the hard drive instead. Very clever. Now, I'm not a huge fan of mobile editing, to be honest. I get quite stressed out just editing at my computer, but for some people the opportunity to edit raw files and 4K on the fly is incredible. You know, sports journalists, travel photographers, vloggers, loads of people could benefit from this, so I shall do a bit of experimenting on their behalf. One thing I've noticed about this is it has lots of different colour flashing lights. I don't really know what any of them mean. I haven't put a password in. How can I have the incorrect password? Well, I'd like to show you how to edit on the Gnarbox, but saying I entered the incorrect password. I haven't changed the password. What? Well, this ain't happening. And now my hard drive is in the Gnarbox, but to eject it safely, I need the app, and I can't get into the app because apparently I've entered the wrong password. Even though... Oh, find the Gnarbox. Well, as with every video I've ever made, that didn't go to plan. I'm not going to blame the Gnarbox yet because there's a good firm chance that I was doing something wrong. But I am going to need to go home to check the Wi-Fi password that they gave me. And if I've been putting in the wrong one, then that's embarrassing. But yeah, I'll go home, find out what the deal is, and hopefully we can get on with this review. Right, let me bring you up to speed. Those clips that you just saw before were filmed a few days before Christmas. It's now about a week and a half after Christmas. What did I get? Thank you very much for asking. For Christmas I got man flu and these slippers, which are awesome. Actually, I love them. But anyway, back to the Gnarbox. When I got home that night after filming all that footage, I was a bit confused about why it wouldn't connect. I didn't really know. But anyway, connected first time when I sat at my desk, obviously. That's how it works. But I wasn't really satisfied with that because I thought this product is supposed to be for the outdoors, and if it's just going to work when I'm at my desk, I'm not particularly interested in that. So the next day I took it up Wales's tallest mountain, which is Mount Snowdon. Actually, I don't think it's really referred to as Mount Snowdon. I think it's just Snowdon. To see if it would work up there. Yes! We're in. I have no idea if you can see that, but that's the Gnarbox app. It's connected. Come on! And I've also tested it near a lake.
I don't think I like pastrami. I know.
Yes! And Emily made a little friend there, which was nice. And it's worked this time, which is very good. So you can click on the Gnarbox app, and as you can see, there's nothing on this Gnarbox currently because there's nothing in the screen that comes up. But if I click devices, sorry, if you just move over, you'll be able to see my iPhone. Just, fine, I'll move. Here's my iPhone. So yeah, as you can see, I've got an SD card in there named no name. So if I just click on that, it'll bring up all the files currently on that card. And then if I find an image which is properly exposed, which is easier said than done because I was bracketing, so not many of them are, I'll click on that, and then in the top right I'll just go to edit. And then when you're in edit, it's just all normal sliders like you might find in Lightroom or in Instagram or something. The only ones there that you might not have come across before are punch, which is basically clarity like you might find in Lightroom, and intensity, which basically boosts or lowers the effect of all the previous changes that you've applied before. Other than that, they're all pretty straightforward. You know, tint, temperature, midpoint, white point, black point. Yeah, all the stuff that you'll have seen before. Starting with exposure and contrast, which more often than not you'll be adjusting when you're messing with raw files. Pretty simple, really. And then again in the top right, you've got the option to export. And by and large, I've had a pretty positive experience with editing on my phone using the Gnarbox. I mean, there is some lag sometimes. It takes a little bit of time to build thumbnails and things. When you're trying to edit 4K clips in particular, there's quite a lot of processing time involved. But then when you remember that you're editing on this and not a laptop, and you're doing it through a Wi-Fi connection to your phone, it's quite impressive. I mean, it does get quite hot. This is actually boiling at the moment. But other than that, thumbs up. As for the connection problem at the start of the review, I think I'm going to put that down to my phone because shortly after that my phone died. I think it's just a bit cold for it, and it hasn't happened since. So yeah, I'm going to put that down to the phone, not necessarily the Gnarbox. But the question has to be, is this worth $300? And I'm going to say yes. For me, it is, purely because it's weather sealed and I can trust it outdoors. As I said before, if you're the sort of person that doesn't really need that functionality and you just need to be able to offload an SD card into a hard drive without a laptop, then you probably don't need this. This is probably overkill for you. But if you want to be editing, or if you want to be backing up in the elements where it's raining a lot, or if you're a bit clumsy and you're going to be dropping it on walls and stepping on it and stuff, then this is a brilliant option. I mean, had it been made exclusively for me, I'd have wanted less investment in the editing software and more investment in the storage, but it wasn't, so what are you going to do? So yeah, overall, very good product, very impressed with it, although I still have no idea what these flashing lights mean. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Believe it or not, this year there's going to be lots more reviews on this channel, and hopefully at some point I will get good at them. Is it me, or is that rock making a really nice noise?